Welcome to Soccer Gaming and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you 10 tips you need to know about Madden Ultimate Team. So if you'd like to watch that, stick around. The first thing I could tell you to do is know the objectives, know how to get XP, know how to get coins, know how to get that stuff, and the quickest way of doing that. And to do that, it's just to knock out challenges. It's just to do these missions, the campaign, but ultimately is to know what you can get along the way and know how to set yourself up to get those along the way. So like one of the main things I would say early on is go in here, see these, look what you need to do, how many you need to win, how many activities you need to do, and try to get those complete, because you're going to get some pretty good stuff along the way of knocking those out. First one to mention is to win 20 games with an overall of 70 or less. Early when you're doing like campaign, which would be the first thing you probably knock out when you actually start playing the game, is to try to win those with a team less than 70 overall. So a 69 or lower team, try to knock out 20 wins with them. Once you do that, then you can add in a few more players or whatever to try to get you above 70. You just have to be below 80 and win 40 games there, and so on and so forth. They build on each other, so as you keep going, your team will be getting better. But these are just going to give you extra things along the way. Same thing here: earn stats, complete drills, get stars and challenges. All of this stuff is good to know early on, so that way when you're playing your campaign, when you're working through them, you know what you should be getting. So like on this one, it's a bunch of daily objectives, which is another thing. 80,000 passing yards, 400 rushing touchdowns. All of this stuff, if you know that, you can go ahead and complete these and get some stuff along the way. That'd be the number one thing, is to just go through and know what you need to do early on. That way while you're playing through them in campaign, when you're blowing the computer out in solos 14-0 in the second quarter, you can know, hey, I got to get more passing touchdowns, so let's go ahead, run up the score even more and get more passing touchdowns. My number 2 tip is going to be to do the daily objectives. Make sure every day that you get on, I'm not saying you have to get on and try to get these done, but if you're getting on, you're playing, make sure you knock out the daily objectives. Later on, obviously weekly objectives are not up because the game hasn't officially been released yet, but there are going to be weekly objectives there. You're going to want to knock those out too, but make sure you knock out the daily objectives, because again, it's easy XP, it's easy tokens, coins, whatever you want to call them. So it's harder to get your Madden level up this year. What they're going to do, I think, is once the first season of Ultimate Team or whatever Ultimate season is done, it resets to 1. You have to go all the way back up your MUT level, all the way back up to 50, and this is a good way to do it. Make sure that you knock these out every single day that you possibly can. They're pretty easy, most of which are pretty easy and pretty simple. Like this one, if you win a game, again, a solo game in seasons or whatever, boom, that one's done. You get another 500 XP. Tokens, same thing with this one. Win 2 games, you get 1,000 XP and tokens. This one, purchase a pack, you get 500 XP and tokens back. And then this one, get first down 25 times, so basically get 25 first downs and you're going to be getting 1,000 XP and up to 25,000 coin quick sell, which could be very big early on in this season. So make sure you just come in here, knock these out, and it will definitely help you in the long run. So the next thing is going to be just doing the campaign, doing these things, doing the solo stuff as fast as possible and playing them early in. There are certain things you got to do in the campaign. You got to get to like the season week 3 in the campaign to get your captain. So that's something that you're going to have to knock out and try to do. I believe it's week 3. Yeah, week 3, you're going to get your captain. So it's something that you want on your team early on. So make sure you go through at least week 3 to knock out that, so that you can pick your captain. And then you're going to want to make sure you're grinding out Gridiron Forge, because you get a lot of great stuff in this. You get an 87 overall JC Jackson, which is an AT, Elite Gridiron and Pro Fantasy Packs, 18,000 plus coins. And you're going to get 75 gold player. You're going to get other stuff along the way there as well. But just knocking these out, you're going to get those stats that I was talking about in the first tip. You're going to get coins, training, all that stuff along the way. So solos early on and beating these challenges are definitely the fastest and easy way of raising your MUT level early on, getting coins, getting players, getting training upgrades, getting all that stuff early on. So make sure you try to knock out the campaign and Gridiron Forge as early as possible. So the number 4 tip goes along with this. I've kind of already said it in tip 1, but tip 4, you're going to try to get as much stats as you possibly can while playing these solo challenges. While you're playing the computer on pro mode, where you have to, they're like 4-minute quarters where you're trying to beat the computer and do certain things like pass for 2 passing touchdowns and win a game and throw a bullet pass. While you're doing those to complete the challenges in the campaign, if you get it by halftime, second half, just run up the score. Try to get rushing yards, try to get passing yards, try to get rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, try to intercept, try to fumble, all that stuff, because those are the things that later on will help you if you get those stats, and they're just going to keep building and building and building. So don't just use that time just to run out the clock and be done with it. Use that time to get those extra stats and to get those extra passing yards, because later on in the game, when it comes to it, when you have to get 80,000 for the ultimate champion here, where you have to get 80,000 stats and drills and stuff, where you get 80,000 passing yards, 400 rushing touchdowns, that stuff is going to help getting that early on when you're playing against the computer or rookie or pro or whatever you're playing against. Try to get those early on, because later on in the game, it's definitely going to help you out. The next tip is number 5, and I've kind of already gone over it as well, but I want to just drill this into your head. When you start the game and you start campaign and solo challenges, make sure your team is under 70, because you need to get this win 20 games with an overall 70 or less. What I did is I actually went in and I read this, but I wasn't thinking, and my team was actually a 71. So I was winning the games with an overall 80 or less. I was not winning them with a 70 or below. And then there got to the point where it was actually difficult to beat some of the challenges because my team wasn't as good. So make sure you, when you start this, that your team is less than 70. It'll only take 20 games or 20 challenges or whatever to beat the computer, and then you will be able to upgrade your team to where, like I am now. Like my team is maxed out right now. Like I have all the best players I can, and I'm at a 79, so I'm still unlocking the 80, but it's so much easier to go through with a better team. So early on, when it's the easier challenges, make sure your team is lower than 70 until you get to the 20 win point, and then you can up your team to whatever overall they want to be. So the number 6 tip in this 10 tips video is going to be doing auctions and trades. I don't mess a lot with the trades just because I feel like it's kind of difficult to find what you want, and it's almost easier just to either buy it or sell it. Make sure you're paying attention. I wouldn't say sit in here for an hour and try to do things, but just kind of look every once in a while, and you might be able to snipe a card for a very low price. And kind of show you what I'm talking about. This Patrick Mahomes card, they are trying to buy now price for $9,600, but it's definitely not going for that. It's going for more around the 2,000, 3,000 mark, but I was able to pick it up for 300 tokens. So basically I picked it up for 300. Now I can use it to boost, or I can use it to go ahead, if I'm needing coins right now, I can go ahead and flip that for 2,000, 2,200 coins, and I end up making about 1,500 to 1,000 coins off of this flip. And I know it's a little more difficult to do this in Madden than it is my MLB videos, like where you can just basically sit there and flip all day. Harder to do that in Madden, but there is a place for it, and if you're paying attention, you can get some pretty good cards for some pretty low prices. And so you kind of want to do this along the way. Like, why not drop 150 tokens for 66 overall wide receiver or something like that? Like, why not do that? Because you can end up, again, quick selling them for training, or you could put them in those the sets and get better cards and all that. Like this guy, I ended up not getting him, but it was about I think it was 150 when I bid on him with a couple seconds left, and then people kept bidding up. They're there, you just have to be able to look for them. So my suggestion is when you come in here, just every once in a while, just go here, look at what's going on, look at what's selling, do like time remaining to see what's selling here, see if you could pick off a card for pretty low, that type of thing. Like this card is going for 1,000, but the bid's at 250 right now. I could possibly grab this for 300 and be able to, okay, auction down. So whoever bought that bought it for 250, which is really low for those types of cards. And those, again, you can use when building up your sets and everything. So that's my suggestion, is just go through here and try to find, because you never know what you're going to find. This Travis Kelce is going for, he's not going for that, like this, they want to sell it for 30,000. Right now, this card is just sold for 80 or 800. So this is a card that would be pretty big early on. I didn't bid on it, but if you just watch these things, you can get some pretty good deals out of these if people aren't paying attention or don't know how much to list people for or that type of stuff. And especially early on in the season when you don't really know the market, it's fluctuating pretty drastically. You don't know really what to sell people for. This would be a good time to jump in here and try to snipe some really good cards for a very cheap price. Number 7 tip is also going to deal with the auctions and trades and everything, is make sure that you're getting value out of the players on your team that you might not necessarily be using. So if there's a few golds, or if you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback and you get another good quarterback that you're like, no, I won't ever really use, I'm going to be using Patrick Mahomes, then make sure you get your value for that card. Make sure you're paying attention to how much that card's going for. Is it worth 50,000 coins? Is it worth 100,000 coins? Stuff like that. Like I'm using the Patrick Mahomes, so I'm not going to need this Tom Brady. So it might be, you know, let's go ahead and see how much he's auctioning for. Go here and you're like, oh, he's not really worth 3,000. I feel like he's worth 5,000. So maybe you don't sell him right away. Maybe you wait a little bit until, you know, his price goes up, or you could go ahead and toss him on the thing and just make him worth 5,000. But definitely a thing you need to do is pay attention to these cards and see kind of what they're selling for if you're not using them. Like right now, this Tyreek Hill card is going for 30,800 just recently. So this might be a card that you go out and say, you know what, I like this Tyreek Hill card, but I think that this is the best value I'll ever get for him. So go ahead and sell him right away. So just kind of pay attention to what cards you have, what cards you are not using. Like I'm not using this punter card, a 75 punter. Well, he's not auctionable, but you know what I'm saying? Like just go through and look at your players. If there's some players you're not using that are pretty good that you don't feel like are going to go in the sets probably, then go ahead and try to see if you can sell them for a pretty good price and get coins back in order to help your MUT level and all that good stuff going forward. So the 8th thing I'm going to tell you to do, the 8th tip, is an important one, and that is to play with the cards or the players that you want to play with. This is for multiple reasons. I'm not saying play with a 65 overall guy because he's your favorite player. What I'm saying is, yes, I have the 88 Patrick Mahomes down here quarterback, but say I kind of struggle with him, say having like an 82 overall Tom Brady or something that I feel like I play better with. Don't always play your best overall if you don't play well with him. If you don't like your running back, you think he's too slow, and you have an 89 overall Sean Alexander and a 78 overall Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Clyde is like, I'm making this up, but say it's like 5 speed more and you need more speed, then play the guy that has more speed. Play who you want to play, because you will end up playing better usually. It doesn't necessarily mean because a guy has a better overall that he's actually a better card. It just means his stats are higher. Doesn't mean that he's playing to that ability while you're on the field. I love Patrick Mahomes. Even if they come out with a better card than Patrick Mahomes, he's going to be my quarterback really no matter what, just because I love it. I love the Chiefs. I love Patrick Mahomes. So just play with the people you love playing with, because in the end, you're going to have fun with it, rather than like say, oh, well, yeah, everyone's using this card and, everyone's using a Michael Vick card or whatever. Just use what you like and what you enjoy playing with. The 9th tip is, I don't have any packs right now, but if you do get packs, open them right away. Except at the very beginning, you don't want to open your NAT packs very first. You want to open all the other packs that you have before you open your NAT and Ultimate Thing packs, because then you can know what you're supposed to be picking. But anytime you get a pack, just open it, because you never know what's going to be inside. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're just golds or whatever. Well, you could be using those golds, whether you sell them, whether you put them in a set. So anytime you get some packs, just make sure you go ahead and open them, because they're going to be useful opening those and getting the players or getting the cards and knowing what you have in a bulk, rather than trying to save up for 10 packs and then rip all 10 packs. So my 9th tip for you is, anytime you get a pack, go ahead and open it, see what's inside, see what you can do with it, whether you sell it, whether you trade it, whether you turn it in for training, whatever you do. Just having that pack and knowing what's in it, you could do with it what you want. And the very last thing is going to be the most important thing while playing Madden Ultimate Team, because if you don't do this, you will not last playing Madden Ultimate Team. And I mean that because I know last year I got super bored with it and stopped playing it. So my number 10 tip and most important tip is to have fun playing the game. And that means while you're playing the game, just realize it's a video game. It's there to have fun. I know you want to grind. I know you want to get these good players. I know you want to have the best team. I know you want to beat everybody else, but that's just not going to happen. Even the best players in the world lose. Otherwise, they wouldn't be the best players in the world because they wouldn't know how to win. Make sure that while you're doing this, you're having fun. Get players that you want, even though they're not great. Build your team around a player that you love, like Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or whoever you want to. Build your team around them and try to just have fun with the game. There's tons of things you can do. So even if you're grinding challenges and you're getting tired of it, you're getting bored, go ahead and play head-to-head season. Go ahead and play squads with some people. Go ahead and play MUT Champions. There's so many different things you could do in Madden Ultimate Team, and the biggest thing I tell you to do is just have fun. Otherwise, you're going to get bored of it. You're not going to like playing it. You're going to eventually quit playing it, or you're going to be so bored and hate it so much that it's just not fun anymore. Those are the 10 tips that I have for playing Madden Ultimate Team. If you enjoyed them, or if you have any other ones you want to add, go ahead and add them down below. It'll definitely help other people out as well. But if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Also, feel free to hit that red subscribe button so that you don't miss the rest of the Madden Ultimate Team content coming soon. And I will see you guys in the next one. Slacker out.